Hello, my name is Jamie Harris, and welcome to part 4 of overview of Silbuster and Openreferral's data manipulation library. Today we're going to be looking at the REST API, and we're going to give just some basic broad concepts. We're going to retrieve an Excel file from the REST API, save it, and take a look at that, and go over some of the concepts and settings. So first off, let's go ahead and look at our documentation. And we pull up our documentation. What we're going to be working with today is underneath the REST API. If we navigate to the REST API here, we're going to come down and look at Postgres to Excel example, and we're going to hit this endpoint here. So I've got that opened up in Postman already. And instead of passing in the connection parameters, I've already configured this server to use an environment variables. And the environment variables are prefixed with Postgres. So there's the source, the destination, the source query, and I'm also using a schema for this, so I'm passing the schema as well. And right now, all endpoints require a destination query, which is non-intuitive, and that needs to be changed. So that is a change that is coming. But we're going to go ahead and get an Excel document from the REST API. So we're going to hit this little drop down here. We're going to hit send and download, and boom, there we go. This is the actual job ID. I mean, the actual, the job ID, excuse me. And this is just the results. So I'm going to save that and give me just a moment. We're going to open that up and take a look at it. And here's our results. So our results, this is not a log, right? So these are the actual results from that job being ran. And in that job, we're actually deduplicating the data. We're just not clustering it. So this is the deduplicated data returned to us. All right, and so the next portion I'm going to cover some of the concepts of the settings of the REST API, and we'll look at the documentation together. Okay, so looking at the source code, it's going to live here in deduper. Now, if we open up the settings.py, and this is a Django server using the Django REST framework. At the bottom, you're going to see deduplication steps as well as app logger. So this application logger is going to be pre-configured. So your server instance will have its own configuration set up. I'm using environment variables, so we're passing in environment prefix here, and I'm just passing it a Postgres handler. Deduplication steps. So the REST API will have these deduplication steps available that you can pass directly to the server. And if nothing is passed, then it's going to run these deduplication steps in sync, or in sequence, should I say. The deduplication steps are key value pairs or hashes. The key is going to be the function, and then the value is going to be the module that we're importing from. Okay, so now let's look at the documentation, and we will go through a couple of endpoints. Okay, so we start from the beginning here. This is an exact match URL example. We can hit an endpoint Postgres for a Postgres to Postgres example. We can hit an endpoint /database /database. It is going to be a post request. And we're going to set a source query, a destination query, and this is the type of response that we're going to expect. And the payload, we're going to have the job ID. All right, and this is, I used environment settings, and this kind of goes over those default environment settings that you can use. And for your deduplication steps that I showed you previously, this is a little brief overview of that. This is a brief overview of using the REST API to chain steps, and we can see here that I'm chaining 2 steps, and we've already seen an example of that in video 2 or video 3. Postgres to JSON example, and we have finally our Postgres to Excel example. There's a couple of endpoints that we are working on now, and they're going to be coming in the future. But for now, you have some basic, basic endpoints to work with, and start using this in data manipulation. And in the future, we're going to be adding in logging to that. You can also hit, by the way, you can hit the endpoint, deduplicate, and you're going to get some information. Let me just show you that while I'm thinking of it. We can hit that endpoint and get some information on how to use that endpoint. So I'm going to make a GET request to deduplicate. And this is going to give us a little bit of information in the instructions on what all can be passed and what it means. And in the future, I plan on implementing the logs the same exact way so that you'll be able to hit that endpoint as a developer and get some information on what you can use to pass to that. But anyways, more videos are to come, but that's the brief overview of how to use the library as well as how to get started with the REST API. Thank you for your time, and we'll see you in the next series of videos.